and welcome to your video lecture. Today we're going to be talking about the difference between academic and professional writing. So academic writing is the kind of writing you've probably done in most of your previous English classes, whereas professional writing is the kind of writing we're going to focus on in this course. So professional writing meaning communication for business and management. Let's get started. Students often enter a course like this without really knowing what the subject matter is, so I thought we could start with an example. Here's a text message, an extremely unprofessional one. I'll give you a second to read it. This is an example of what this class is not about. Students often enter a course like this one and worry that all we're going to discuss are obvious things, as if I'm going to lecture everyone repeatedly with tidbits like, "Students, never send a text that starts with yo boss." I know you're not going to do that. This course is not that basic, I promise. So this is an example to say, don't worry. I promise not to bore you with obvious rules about professionalism. Here's a real example of the kinds of things we work on. This email was shown in the Introduction to Professional Communication book. If you haven't read it yet, please pause this video and return to that book on the main Moodle page. If you have read it already, you know that it's a confusing, boring message. And if Dwight really sent this to Oscar, Oscar probably wouldn't be happy. He would be confused and probably frustrated since the message is long but doesn't share important information. Let's look at an improved example. Look at what we can do instead. This message is shorter, but it has more information. Even though there's less text, there's more content. He's more descriptive about what he wants to discuss, he lists possible meeting times, and he's more professional overall. So this example shows a bit about what this class is about. We're going to try and take messages like this one, with lengthy, wordy paragraphs, ones that aren't professional, and turn them into something like this. The way we do that is we focus on audience-centered writing. Professional writing is called audience-centered because professional writers must consider the needs of their audience. In doing so, you'll better achieve your purpose. So in our previous example with Dwight and Oscar, Dwight was not being considerate of his audience. But by realizing that Oscar, his audience, would need written out meeting options, Dwight can better suit his audience's needs and be more professional. It's really about considering where your message is going and who it is going to meet when it gets there. It's an integral part of professional communication and something we'll focus on. This is different than the kind of writing you've done before in college. Academic writing, or writing you've done in probably other classes, often focuses on one research idea or one format. That means that your focus is on conveying your research ideas, not suiting those ideas to an audience. There's not as much consideration for the audience's needs or the audience's use of the document in academic writing because your goal is to make sure that you're sharing your research ideas. That's very different than professional writing. In professional writing, you might have one message, but it's often in many formats. For example, you might have a memo, business letter, proposal, report, brochure, and email, all with the same message. However, you must customize the format and the purpose to fit the audience's needs. So you might use a memo to quickly communicate that message within the office, but that same message might be within a brochure when you're communicating it to your clients. So in summary, professional writing requires you to consider your audience in different ways, and that's a stark difference from the kinds of academic writing we've done before. To focus on audience, you need to ask yourself questions like, who is your reader? What do your readers already know about the subject? What actions do you need the readers to take after they've interacted with your message? And do you need to adapt this message for international readers? Let's walk through an example together, looking at the audience of a particular message. Here it says, I know everyone remembers the CEO's discussion about a new product for spring 2013. As the product development team, we need to have an idea of what we want this to look like before other departments start figuring out the look, feel. Let's meet sometime next week about this product development idea. Thanks! Sarah. Let's analyze this message using the audience questions that we reviewed. So first of all, who specifically is your reader? Well, clearly the message was writing to a department head, the writer's coworkers, and also a marketing representative that was being requested to attend this meeting. Second, the question, what do your readers already know? Well, they clearly already know about this project. They don't know the purpose of the meeting time and date, or the attendees. Third, what actions do you need the readers to take after interacting with the message? You need them to add the meeting to their calendar and review the meeting minutes. Finally, do you need to adapt your message to international readers? No. To improve this message, we can start by replacing the welcome from "Hey everyone" to "Dave, Tom, and Professional Development Team," or PD team, which better addresses the question, who is attending? This is more informative, so all readers know who is involved with this message. Next, let's change that generic reference to the previous meeting that is both confusing and really not informative. In case our audience needs to familiarize themselves with that meeting, let's provide more details. We can write, last week, our CEO started discussion about a new product for spring 2013. Meeting notes attached. Now we're sure that we're meeting our audience's needs because we're providing them with the previous meeting's minutes. That allows them to check up on the information, making them more informed readers. Next, let's look at that vague meeting request. For our audience's sake, let's outline the meeting agenda. That way, everyone can be better prepared to discuss the topics. Instead of just saying, let's have a meeting, we can outline what we want to discuss so that all of our audience members will be prepared. Then there's that vague reference to a meeting request. Let's put in some actual meeting options so that when your audience replies, they can include their preference for a meeting date and time. Finally, instead of that generic sign-off, let's add a final note about Tom, the marketing representative that you've invited, so that everyone knows he will be there. Also, make sure your last statement is about the action you'd like the readers to take. You want them to reply with information about their availability, so make that goal clear. So, we've gone from this vague message that would probably cause a lot of questions with people replying and asking about when the meeting should be and what the agenda is about, to this clear message that's full of information but still organized and concise. So, in summary, this class is different. You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. Don't expect to see things from your previous classes that involved academic writing, not professional writing. You'll want to avoid the way you write for academic courses and focus on professionalism and concise writing. So to start, avoid using big, superfluous words and big paragraphs. Instead, use less words and focus on understanding. Don't forget formatting. In academic writing, your focus is on the words, the content. In professional writing, there's a big focus on format because you want to organize the text so that it improves the way your audience works with the information. Finally, I can't say this enough. Don't ignore your audience. Take time to consider their needs. Remember, you can't just think about what you want to write. You must consider where your message is going and who it will meet when it gets there. Here's a summary of what we've discussed. I'll leave this slide up. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to post in the FAQ forum. Thanks for watching.